Up next on Out and About today, Big Brothers Big Sisters of Middle Tennessee is developing a pilot program designed specifically for LGBTQ young victims of crime. Here with the details from Big Brothers Big Sisters, CEO Melissa Hudson-Gant and Director of Education and Inclusion Bryan Currie. Thanks to both of you for being here.
Thank you for having us.
This is a really exciting program, and it couldn't come, I would think, at a better time. So we're going to talk about kind of how it came to be, what prompted it, where you're going with it. But first, because it's such a great organization, I kind of wanted to show Big Brothers Big Sisters in action. So let's take a look at it, and we'll talk about it on the backside. I love that, Defenders of Potential. I mean, really, really effective. So nice look to that. And so we're talking about developing and starting a pilot program for LGBTQ youth. So kind of what prompted this to even start the conversation?
Sure. Well, you may know that Big Brothers Big Sisters as a national organization is more than 100 years old. And in fact, in Middle Tennessee, 2019 marks our 50-year anniversary of Big Brothers Big Sisters in the Middle Tennessee community. And just like all communities, we are evolving. We're changing and growing so that we can best serve the young people in our community. And this program and the outgrowth of that is part of us expanding our internal capacity to meet our young people where they are. You may also notice, and some of your viewers may notice, that we look a little different than we did just a few months ago. We've rebranded. We have new colors, we have new messaging to talk about the urgency, the importance, and the value of the work that we do. We believe that each and every young person is filled with potential, and our job is to walk alongside them as allies to help them create the best version of themselves. And so this program is just part of that work.
And so kind of what prompted this in the conversation?
Yeah, Big Brothers and Big Sisters have been partnering with young people in Bigs, as Melissa said, in Nashville for 50 years. And part of what we've noticed just within the last few years are things that have been happening in our community for a long time. We know that LGBTQ kids in particular are at risk for various outcomes, but part of the conversation that we have in our organization is that if our young people are at risk, specifically if our LGBTQ young people are at risk, it's not because they are LGBTQ, it's because of the trauma that they experience because they're LGBTQ, which is, if that makes sense, that's a really important distinction for us. So for example, we know that LGBTQ kids are about 2 times more likely to abuse drugs and alcohol. We know that LGBTQ kids are about 3 times more likely to be suicidal or have clinical depression. LGB kids, about 3 times more likely to be clinically depressed. Our trans neighbors are about 6 times more likely to be suicidal than other kids. But that's not because they are LGBT. There's nothing hardwired in their identity that makes them more prone to any of those things. If they're prone to those things, it's because of the trauma that they're experiencing because they're LGBT. So GLSEN, one of our national partners, highlights that even in our school systems, that about 42% of LGBTQ kids say that they are physically harassed in school. And that's not national. That's here in Tennessee, 42% of our kids are harassed in school. About 16% of our kids say that they are physically assaulted in their schools because they're LGBTQ. So that's trauma that our kids are experiencing. And if they're experiencing that trauma, then we can see why those other outcomes may come about. We may see why they're abusing drugs and alcohol, if they are. We may see why they're depressed, if they are. It's that trauma that's driving that behavior. So as an organization, we want to know how can we step in and support these kids who are experiencing that trauma. So we go into our community and we talk to our kids, and we call them bigs, our big brothers and our big sisters, our bigs, who can stand alongside these young people and defend their potential. As the video said, we don't need people who think they're going to save our kids, because our kids don't need saving. They are strong, wonderful, brilliant people. They are resilient. They have the resources they need. they just need us to stand next to them and defend them and support them, open our hearts and our lives to them. So that's part of what we're doing as an organization.
Great, and I know our talks always go so fast. We've got about 2 minutes, so I want to make sure that we get a lot of this information in too. So basically, based on the trauma, just obviously, it's not their makeup, obviously, of being LGBTQ,
right,
but it's the trauma, though, that because they are LGBTQ, people there may be more assaults. It might drive them because of the way society is reacting to them. So, kind of, how do you look at implementing this and kind of marking how do we do this so that it is successful?
Absolutely. And this is part of it, you having us here so we can share this program and outreach to adults who are interested in serving as mentors and to young people who need another person in their life. That's how we implement this and make sure that this is successful. And I also want to distinguish that it isn't just LGBTQ kids who actually identify but are perceived to be are victims of bullying and isolation and experience this trauma. That's a developmentally young people. That is a time when you need acceptance and you crave it, and you need contact with other people, folks to talk to, which is actually one of the most powerful healing things that can happen. Is just someone to listen, someone to be there with you consistently, and that's how we're making sure that this happens safely and effectively, because we prepare our bigs, our mentors, to serve as that caring adult in this young person's life. All of our matches, that's what we call when we pair a big and a little together, are professionally supported by the staff on our team. So as there is a developmental milestone or a challenge that they might encounter, they have someone that they can call that helps to guide.
Now I want to make sure that we get the information on the screen so that people know how to contact you. Very important, obviously, is the first step. So there it is on your screen, you're seeing right there, mentorakid.org. The phone number you can call, you can jot that down, 615-329-9191. Email info@mentorakid.org. So such a great thing that you guys are doing, so glad. And I want you to come back too once this is in effect and kind of report back to us and keep us up to speed.
We would love that. Thanks, Chuck.
That would be terrific.
Thank you so much.
All right, thanks again, Melissa and Bryan. And once again, for more info, check out mentorakid.org. And that's all the time we have for this edition of Out and About Today. We'll see you next time. Good night.